How's it going, everyone? Bass here. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday weekend. So in today's video, I wanted to go over something that I keep seeing on the internet, I keep seeing in the comments of my videos, and that is on if the Packers should sign wide receiver Julio Jones. And I actually did just see an article on bookies.com showing the probability of Julio Jones being on a particular team, and I'll bring that list up right now. Says Julio Jones week 1 team odds, and as we see here, the Packers are on the top at plus 325, a 23.5% implied probability, followed by the Colts, Cowboys, Browns, Chiefs, Ravens, and Falcons. Now, obviously, this is just Vegas odds. This isn't an inside source saying the Packers are interested in Julio Jones. This is just what Vegas thinks, what team he may play for week 1. And obviously, with the Packers, no true, clear number 1 wide receiver. Vegas is going to go with them for any big-name wide receiver free agent as we go through almost every single year. So in this video, I wanted to go over the possibility of the Packers potentially signing Julio Jones, give the pros, give the cons, and then also at the end, give my overall opinion on if they should or should not sign him. All right, so first I'm going to start with the pros. And for number 1, he instantly becomes a number 1 target for the Packers. As I said earlier, the Packers really don't have a true number 1 wide receiver right now. Allen Lazard could become that. There's no denying that. But as of this exact moment, there is no true number 1 wide receiver. Julio would also be easily the most recent 1,000-yard wide receiver on the roster. He had 1,000 yards in 2019. He actually had 1,394 yards. The other 2 receivers on this Packers roster with 1,000-yard seasons, Sammy Watkins in 2015 and Randall Cobb all the way back in 2014. He's also a traditional X wide receiver at 6'3", 220 pounds. The Packers don't have a true X wide receiver right now on the roster. Now, Christian Watson or Sammy Watkins could surely be that, but as of right now, they don't have that guy. And even though Julio is 33 years old this year, he's totaled 2,600 yards and 10 touchdowns, all while being in his 30s in a total of 34 games. And it adds a true veteran presence to the wide receiver room, which currently has an average age of 25 years old. And he would likely be a low-risk, high-reward signing. I'm thinking right around $5 million with a lot of incentives and little guarantees. And when healthy, which is a big asterisk, and I'll talk about that later, Julio is truly an unguardable wide receiver. And finally, Aaron and Julio would likely build a good rapport with each other, and he would likely become a main target for Aaron Rodgers on third downs and also in the red zone. All right, so now let's move over to the cons and talk about the reasons why the Packers shouldn't sign Julio Jones. And the biggest one is that he just can't seem to stay healthy. He's only played in 57.6% of games the last 2 seasons, only 82 receptions total the last 2 years, and a measly 31 receptions last year with the Titans. Julio's had lingering hamstring issues all the way since 2020, and for an older wide receiver, those injuries don't just disappear. And another important thing to note is signing Julio Jones would stunt the growth of other young wide receivers on this roster, such as Allen Lazard, Amari Rodgers, Christian Watson, and Romeo Doubs. Obviously, if the Packers were to sign Julio Jones, a lot of those guys will not be getting the amount of snaps they would get if Julio wasn't here. And at 33 years old, Julio's never likely to return to his top form that he's had back in the day at 1,400 yards a season. He could very well end up getting hurt, playing around 8 games and totaling around 400 yards. It would also certainly mean a wide receiver such as Samori Toure would not make the 53-man roster, because currently right now Toure is kind of that 7th wide receiver. Really doubt the Packers would keep 8 wide receivers after signing Julio Jones. So that would basically mean Samori Toure would either hopefully make it to the practice squad or another team would sign him, which I don't want to see because I'm really high on Samori Toure. And just in general, it would mean a guy like him, Juwan Winfrey wouldn't get a chance, even Danny Davis. It would just basically mean one of those guys is 100% gone. So overall, if Julio is super cheap, and I mean veteran minimum, and you truly think he can help this team win a championship, I say you go for it. But me personally, I don't think it's worth it. The Packers just drafted 3 wide receivers in this recent draft for a reason. You don't just sign a 33-year-old wide receiver with injury concerns to play over them. They already signed a free agent wide receiver before the draft in Sammy Watkins, and I think if they wanted Julio Jones, they would have just signed him then over Sammy Watkins. And I think it's truly time to see what the young guys have. From Christian Watson to Romeo Doubs to Amari Rodgers to Samori Toure, you have a lot of young, untapped potential to discover. And signing Julio Jones would simply halt pretty much all of those wide receivers' growths. Now, I'm not saying this could never happen. I'm just personally on the side of not signing Julio Jones. Now, if an injury were to happen in training camp or preseason or even the regular season, if Julio Jones still isn't signed, then yes, okay, then we can go down that avenue of signing Julio Jones to replace that. But as of right now, I am just not on the side of signing Julio Jones. But I want to hear your guys' thought on this. Leave a comment down below if you think the Packers should or shouldn't sign Julio Jones, and then also leave a reason why. But if you are new here and want more Packers news analysis and updates, please consider going down, clicking the subscribe button, as well as turning on post notifications to not miss any of my uploads, and also leaving a like on the video to support my channel. But that about does it for this one. I'll catch you on the next one. As always, go Pack Go.